Welcome everybody to session 3 of Glow Your Own. We're extending our capabilities on the computer coding to introduce a button and some more lights. So I'm going to pass on to Sophie and we'll get coding and building.
Fab. Thank you very much, Dane, and hello everybody. It is lovely as always to see you here for Glow Your Own. It was lovely to see those of you who could make it to Blast on Monday. Sarah and I had a lovely time.
It's amazing.
It was so much fun, honestly. I had a great time. But it's great that we're all here today so that we can carry on, as Dane said, adding to our circuits and starting to get a little bit more creative now that we've got the basics down. So we're going to be adding in some buttons to control our LEDs today. And then learning how to separate it from the computer, because it's great when it's connected to the computer, but also you might want it to be separate and move around. So I'm just going to share my screen for a second so that we can go through it together like normal. So here we go. We've got our Tinkercad classroom link, which is in the chat. If you have missed it in the chat, because sometimes it doesn't show up if you join afterwards, we can pop it back in there again. And I'm going to join with my nickname, which is free. That's me. And so you should all have your nicknames. If you don't, pop it in the chat and we will give you a quick reminder of that. So when you log on to Tinkercad, you should see something that looks a bit like this, because we've been working on that for a while. And you'll see here in the circuits, which is what we're doing, you've got the circuits that we made in the previous sessions. So what we're going to do today is build on the work that we were doing last time. Don't worry if you didn't do that. It'll be easy to jump in halfway through. So what we're going to do, because we don't want to lose the work that we did last time by making a mistake and changing it, we're going to make a copy of the circuit that we did last time. So if you hover over the one that we did last time, or I did last time, which is helpfully labeled GYO session 2 for me. You might have called it something different. On this little cog, then you can duplicate it like this. So we're going to duplicate it, and then we have to wait for it to think for a minute. And we are going to start with this and copy of GYO session 2. UKAEA session 3. I know that's a boring name, but it makes it really easy to find the thing that I am looking for. So we do often call things, in fact, that's a general problem in science. Either it's a really cool name or a really, really boring name. Yeah. So this is the circuit that we created last week. We had 2 lights and they flashed. Have 1 light. We're going to create the circuit online to start with, do the coding, and then we will create it in real life as well. It's always a good idea to do things step by step, because then you can test it at each step, which makes it easier to figure out what I have done wrong and fix it. Okay. So give me a wave if you've got a circuit up like this, and then we will start to talk about how to control it. And by give me a wave, I mean you can raise your hand, you can put something in the chat, an emoji or something. I should hold up the chat, shouldn't I? So that I can see what you are all doing. Sorry, my chat is hidden, which is not very helpful. Oh, I love the alien emoji. We've got some hands up, some thumbs up, and some emojis. Fantastic. So once you are ready to start adding buttons, if you've only got 1 light, that's absolutely not a problem. In fact, if you don't have anything, that's not a problem either. Just pull out an Arduino and a breadboard from your components list over here. So pull out an Arduino like that. And now I've got 2 Arduinos, which is ridiculous, but anyway, and a breadboard, and then we can get started from there. Brilliant. All right, we've got some cool emojis and some hands up, so let's get started adding in a button. Now, buttons are, as I'm sure you all know, really helpful because it means that we can control what we're doing. There are lots of different types of buttons actually that we can use, but we're going to use the simplest one, I think, which is a push button, which you can see up here. It's a square with a big red circle, sorry, a big black circle in it. And then, oh, I'm sorry, I just pressed the stop share button. There we go, that back there. So we're going to use the push button and we're going to pull that out onto our into our coding thing. And what I want you to do is to put it so that it is over this middle bit. So 2 of its little legs are on the bottom half of the breadboard and 2 of its little legs are at the top half of the breadboard. And we'll show you in the worksheet, there is a photo of it, and we'll show you the real ones in just a few minutes. Okay, now we're going to use this button to control our LEDs, which means that we need to be able to get the Arduino to know what's happening to the button. So we have to connect the Arduino up to the button. And we're going to do that with a wire, just like we do with the LEDs. We're going to connect it to one of these pins and say, so that we can tell if whatever's connected to that pin is pushed or not. So I'm going to go to pin 4 here. And then I'm going to make a little bit of a funny shape with my wire. So, because I know I've got another component to go in, but I'm going to connect it to one of the legs on my button. So you can see it goes from pin 4, and then I make a funny shape, but it gets connected to this column on my breadboard, all right? And I'm going to change my wire to be yellow, partly because I like yellow, and partly because we're going to use the button as an input. And so it's always a good idea to color code your wires because that makes it easier for you to fix things, easy to find what's going wrong. So pop your hand up if you have a button and a wire connecting your Arduino. It doesn't matter if you don't have any of the other bits and pieces. If you don't, if you didn't have them from last time, that's fine. So pop your hand up. Brilliant. Some of you are already there. That's fantastic. Oh, doing really well. So it doesn't matter if you don't quite have the LED. If you didn't have the LED yet, let's just do the button and the wire. And then let me know when you're done with that, okay? While I take a sip of water. Keep losing the chat. I'm sorry, everyone. So if you don't have all of the lights, that's fine. If you don't have any lights, that's also fine. We're just going to think about the button to start with. You can add the other bits later if you haven't got those. Okay, doing well, everybody. Good job. All right, now we're going to add a resistor next because we're we want to control the amount of current that is going to our button. And we're going to connect it in the same column as our wire. That's why why I made this funny shape. So I'm going to grab my resistor, pull it over here, and connect it to that same leg of my button and to the blue row at the bottom. So that is our ground row. It's connected to the negative part of the Arduino. So now we're connecting from pin 4 up to the button and all the way back down to the Arduino. Okay. The automatic value of the resistor is about the right one for this. So you can just leave that like with the LED. Okay, but so if this were an LED, we'd be there, but buttons actually need some extra power to be able to work. We need to feed it some more power from our Arduino in order to get it to work. So we've got 2 more wires that we are going to add to our circuit. I'm going to change that to green wire. Okay, so the first wire is just going to connect the other leg of the Arduino over here, so you can see where it's going, to the red line. So that's the one below where the resistors are connected here. And we call that the power line because that's where we're going to feed our power in. And I'm going to change my wire to be a red wire because that's the power color. Like I said, it doesn't matter what color wires it is. I just like to have nice patterns in mine. Okay, so once you've got that wire, pop your hand up or pop an emoji in the chat just to let me know when you're done. If you're watching this on the recording and you've already done it, then you can just fast forward through this bit. If you're watching this in the recording and we're going a bit fast, just pause us, it's fine. We'll all smile and then you can pause us and catch up. Okay, so if we are going a bit fast, don't worry at all, because you can always pause us on the recording. All right, so how's it going, everybody? I've lost the chat again.
It looks like it's coming along. We've got thumbs up, we've got guitar, we've got smiley faces.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah, coming along.
Oh, I like the lollipop. Now I'm hungry again. We should make a rule, Dane, that no food ones are allowed because it just makes me hungry. All right, we're going to add one.
I think so. If you just look away,
Fair enough. All right, we're going to have one more wire to complete this button circuit, and that is going to connect my red power line here to the power on the on our Arduino. Okay, so you remember we've talked about these little holes, these pins that are all numbered that we can send out instructions to, or we can actually, today we're going to be getting information from them. We've also talked about the ground, which is like the negative side of a battery that connects it back. But on the other side of the Arduino, we have these other ones, and we'll be doing some more stuff with some of them later as well. But you can see one says 5V. So that stands for 5 volts. So it's just like a battery. And that will provide that extra power that our Arduino needs. So I'm going to connect my battery, my 5-volt pin to my Arduino like that. So now it's connected to the red line on my breadboard, which is connected to this red wire, which is connected to my button, which is connected to my yellow wire, which is connected to pin 4. And I thought I could cope with that not being quite straight, but I can't. So I'm going to make it straight now. There you go. All right, and that is our circuit. So if you are there, then that's fantastic. If you've got an LED, that's brilliant too. If you don't have an LED, you can just add one in quickly. You just need this. You need one LED, one resistor, a wire, and this other and 2 wires going to one going to the ground and one going to a pin. Okay. But if you don't have that, then that's fine. We can just do the coding for this bit to start with. Okay. All right. Are you ready to do the coding? All right. We'll give everyone a couple of minutes to get up to give people up to speed. So the push button, you grab from over here in the components and you pull it over so that it is across the middle of our breadboard. Okay, so 2 of its little legs are on one side and 2 of them are on the bottom top side, like that. Okay. All right, give you a minute all to catch up. So it should be looking like this. Maybe I'll take out one.
We're still just doing it on the Tinkercad version, so hopefully, so maybe Sophie, if you just drag the button over in place again, that might be helpful just to show people.
Sure.
So maybe delete it and put it in again.
So you remember deleting it, you just highlight it, click on it, and then press the delete button. Then if you click on whichever component you want, so we want this push button, and then pull it over like this, then it appears just like all of the other components. And then pop it onto our breadboard like this. Okay. You can name your push button if you want.
Cool. So you might just notice that the LEDs, the 2 legs that go into the breadboard are close together, and there's not a gap in them, and it's just normal for the push button because it's just a bit wider. There's a gap in between it. So those 2 columns, you see the wire and the resistor attached to, there was supposed to be a little column in between. So that should be fine if you've got that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just to make, I think it's just to make it easier for them to make the little push buttons. You only need 1 LED. In fact, maybe I'll delete an LED to make it a bit of a simpler circuit. And you might remember from last time, but the value of this resistor can be lower. So it can be 220. Like that. Okay, so you can just have one LED like this, and you can trace around. So just, you remember in the past couple of sessions, we've been talking about what we call complete circuits. So there has to be a clear path for the electricity to go round all the way. And so for our LED circuits, it goes from here, up from pin 13 on mine, up the wire, yeah, through the breadboard to the LED, through the LED, down through the resistor, and then back to the Arduino through this wire, like that. Okay. Remember, Dan will be getting the recording up in another day or so. So you can always go back and pause it and then catch up at a later point. That's absolutely fine. Or you can speed up and fast forward through it once you've got to each step. Okay. I'm just going to drag my Arduino over to the side a little bit to give us a bit more room. Okay, so pop your hand up or pop an emoji in the chat, or do a thumbs up or a reaction when you are ready to think about the coding. Or if you do have any questions, you can pop that in the chat. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to look away because Isabella's put a cupcake in there, and now, oof, definitely eats cupcake.
So maybe most people have got the button installed now, which is great, and possibly a light.
Yes, fantastic. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to code, and we're going to use a new type of command, a new type of instruction, which is really, really useful. It's used in all coding languages all over the place, and it is called, at least I call it, if then else. I told you we're not very good at naming things, but basically what this block does, and those of you who have used Scratch, something will be familiar with it, is it lets you ask the computer a question. So it says that what we're going to do is say, computer or Arduino, is the button pushed? And the Arduino is going to go, oh, okay, I'll check. And then it's going to say, yep, the button's pushed. And you'll say, okay, well, if the button's pushed, then I want you to turn the light on. But if the button's not pushed, then I want you to keep the light off. Okay? So that's what we're going to do now. That's what we're going to code now. So you'll have some code from before, but we're going to do whole new code, so we can just delete that. Using the same kind of thing, but you can just pop it into the bin at the bottom left.
Bottom right.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Dane. I'm really bad at left and right. Anyway, moving on from me not knowing my left from my right. Here at the screen, and we're going to start with a forever loop, just like before. So we've got that loop because we want to keep on asking the Arduino a question. So all the time we want to be like, Arduino, is the button pushed? And it goes, oh, I'll check. And then it checks. And then you want to ask it again after it's checked, and again, and again, and again. All right. So we're going to start a forever loop, and then we're going to put the command if then else inside our forever loop. So that's this one here. And you just pop it in, and it clicks with a lovely pop noise. I'm not sure you hear my pop noise, because I don't think I shared my sound, but it's very satisfying. All right. And then we are going to do one of my favorite things. We're going to use some maths, because maths is great, to ask our question or our condition, which we sometimes call it in coding. So if you go to the maths blocks, which are the green ones, then you can see there are lots of different options. And some of you, you can do all kinds of things. And some of you will have used these symbols in your maths classes at school or wherever. But we want the nice triangle-y one that's got a triangle on either side, with the arrows in the middle between the two things. And these arrows mean bigger than or smaller than or equal to. So you're going to pull one of these out and pop it in the arrow shape, in the triangle-y shaped hole there, and it fits nice and satisfyingly in that. Okay. And what we're going to do is say, is pin 4, because that's where my button is connected to, is that equal to 1? Because 1 is like on or pressed or high. There are lots of different ways of saying the same thing. So we want to say, is it equal to 1? So we want to change the thing in the middle to an equal sign, like that. And then in this hole here, we want to get it to ask what is in pin 4. So if you go to input, and we haven't used the inputs before either, so lots of new stuff for you today. And it will read what is happening in each pin. So we're going to use this one that says read digital pin, because the pins on this side are digital, like we said, it says under here digital, and pop it in that first hole. All right. And one more thing before we pause for a second so everyone catches up. At the moment, it's going to look at digital pin 0. Now, I don't have anything connected to digital pin 0, so that's not going to work. I need to change my digital pin to 4, because that's the pin that my button is connected to, and that's where I want to ask the question to. So what this is doing is saying, computer, does digital pin 4 equal 1? Or is the button connected to pin 4 pushed? That's the question that it's asking here. All right. Now, how are you all doing? You can pop your hand up if you're there. You can pop questions in the chat. We've got lovely people there answering all of your questions for you. Or you can put something in there. Brilliant. Got a couple of smiles and thumbs up and things already. Oh, a little halo as well. I like that one. Oh, and lots of food too. Oh, I did spot a quick question. So while we're just making sure that everyone is caught up with us, I'll just answer that. So one of you asked, sorry, the emojis have gone through, so I can't remember who asked it, what the built-in LED was. So on the Arduino, there are actually some little lights, which you'll see when you plug them in. And that's what the built-in LED is. So they have they have a little light built in. They're really useful because it means that you know that it's properly connected and getting power. But you can also control that sometimes with code. But we want to control bigger LEDs. We're not going to be controlling them today. So we're not going to use them today. Okay. All right, so we're going to do the next step of our code, which is to tell the Arduino what we want to happen if the button is pushed and what we want to happen if the button is not pushed. Okay, so I think if the button is pushed, I would like my LED to be turned on. So you'll remember from last time that we can send instructions out to our LED using the output blocks, the blue ones. And we want to send the instruction to a particular pin. So we're going to use this one, set pin to high, and we're going to click it into here. Okay. Now again, just like before, this will send an instruction, turn pin 0 on or to high. But nothing's connected to my pin 0. My LED is connected to pin 13 here. So I just need to change this to 13, like that. Just going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see a little bit better. There you go. And if my button is not pushed, I think I just want my LED to be turned off. Okay, so I'm going to say instead of set pin 13 to high, I'm going to say set pin 13 to low. Okay, now if you've got two LEDs, what I would suggest is say if the button is pushed, turn one of them on and turn the other one off. So if my LEDs were connected to pin 13 and pin 12, for instance, I'd say set pin 13 to high and set pin 12 to low. But if the button wasn't pushed, I'd do it the other way around. So you can push the button and one LED turns on and one turns off, lift the button up and it goes the other way around. That's what I would do. But you can do whatever you like. You can make patterns with your LEDs flashing on and off. All kinds of different options. Okay, so we have our basic code here. So remember asking the question, and if is the button pushed, is pin 4 1? If it is, then we're going to turn our LED on. If it's not, we're going to turn our LED off. Okay, so pop your hand up, put something in the chat when you are ready to test our code. Brilliant. Some of you are already there. You're doing fantastically. Well done, everyone. Great, some more hands going up. And a pizza. Fantastic. All kinds of different. Oh, honestly, I'm gonna eat such a big dinner. I don't know what that one is, Dane.
That's stew.
Ooh.
Looks like a sort of hot pot or something. I don't know.
So hungry, honestly. All right, so we're going to test whether or not our code works, because I think quite a lot of you are there. If you're not quite there, remember, it's absolutely fine. This is being recorded. You can watch us back, you can pause us, and you've also got all of the instructions in the worksheets that Dane sent out earlier today. So just like before, we are going to start our simulation.
Recording in progress.
Oof. That wasn't part of the simulation. And we are going to see whether or not we have done it properly. So I'm going to start the simulation like this. Now it's running. My LED isn't on, but that's what's supposed to happen because my button hasn't been pushed. So at the moment, it's looking good. Now in Tinkercad, when you want to simulate or pretend that the button is pushed, it's really easy because you just have to hover over it and then click on it with your mouse. And you can see now I've clicked, my LED has turned on. And if I unclick, my LED turns off. So that looks like the code is working. Hooray. Give us a wave if your code is working too, or an emoji or a celebration party hat thing. Well, is yours working, Dave?
Right. It is. So I just joined on my computer so I could share my screen. So
oh, fantastic.
There were some people that were asking about what happens. Oh no, I've just moved it all. Hang on. Oh dear. Now it's all going crazy. As usual.
If it's not working, that's fine. It often doesn't work the first time. Pop something in the chat.
There we go.
Tell us what your Tinkercad nickname is. And then we can have a look at your code and your circuit and we can help you through the chat. We'll try and help you through the chat. If that doesn't work, you can stay on for the session afterwards so that we can share our screens and help each other that way. Okay, so if it isn't working, just pop something in the chat. Double check all of your wires looking like this, all of the connections. This wire here that goes all the way to the bottom, that's the one that people most often forget. I've found, so double check that wire is there. Okay, brilliant. Well done, everybody. So what we're going to do now is we're going to recreate this in real life. Oh, sorry, everyone.
We've got a couple of people who haven't quite got there yet.
So if it isn't working, do pop your Tinkercad nickname into the chat, because then Sarah and the team can have a look at your code and your circuit and can suggest things that you might want to try. But we'll leave it up there for a sec. Those of you it is working, oh, and somebody's working perfectly, fantastic. If you just grab your Arduino kits, so grab the bits and pieces and we'll see if it is, and we'll see if we can make it in real life. Sorry, I've got all cold all of a sudden. Okay.
So if it's not quite working, don't worry. So still follow along and just stay with us for the last half an hour and we can look into it for you. But if you do have your Tinkercad code that you've signed into Tinkercad today with, it will help us troubleshoot your circuit blocks on the computer. So don't worry about it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got lots of people to help and we've got lots of other opportunities. So do pop your Tinkercad nickname in there if it isn't working. Okay, but let's get our circuits working in real life. Very exciting to be able to control it. So we're going to start with the two basic components. We've got our Arduino. Oh, we've got our Arduino here. And we've got our breadboard. Now I'm actually going to get another camera working so that you can see it, hopefully, a bit better. So if you can see, there's a person in the chat called Arduino Cam, and there, that's me, but with my Arduino, so you might be able to see it a little bit more closely. Okay. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to add our button onto the thing. So the button, it looks like a cute little bug here. Let's see if you can see how closely I can focus it. It's got a silver square with a little round, a round black, well, button in the middle of it, and 4 cute little legs like that. Oh, sorry, my camera's having a few problems focusing on it. But there you go. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it over the central little, the center bit of our breadboard, just like we did in Tinkercad. Okay, so popping it over like that, then you'll see, there, can you see that? So 2 of its little legs are on one side of the middle bit, and the other 2 are on the other side. Okay. Now let's connect that up just like it is on our circuit diagram here, so over that middle bit. All right, now I'm going to add the wire. So I'm going to pick a lovely yellow wire here and connect it up like it is on my circuit diagram. So from the leg on the right there, so it's connected on there, to pin 4. Oh, I put my Arduino on the ground. And you can see Dane's there is looking great as well.
On it. I've just done it.
Brilliant.
See, it looks just like, well, I've got 3 lights on mine, so I've just copied the pattern that I've got, but you can just see how the button is put in. I'll try and make it closer.
There's also a photo of it that's nice and much better focused than my Arduino Cam on the worksheet as well. Okay. Okay, so we've got a wire and we've got our button. Now let's grab a resistor. If you've still got your resistors that are that have labels, we want a 1 kilo ohm resistor, 1K and then a funny squiggle. And we're going to connect that from the same row. So we're going to do it from the same column here as the wire and the button to the blue line, to our negative line. So I'm going to go from here. Now I find resistors quite tricky because their legs are quite long and they get really bent. So just make sure that it's nice and firmly in there. Sorry, and you can't see because I can't apparently do this at the same time as holding the camera. So I'm just going to put it in for a second and then I will show you. There you go. All right. You can see that this little resistor is connected from the same column rather as the wire and the button, and down to the blue line on my breadboard. Okay. And Dane's is the same as well. 2 more wires and then we are done with our button circuit. And sorry, I was just double checking the chat. So I'm going to pick a red wire here.
Sophie, in
yeah.
a moment, could you please zoom in on a physical button before it's attached to your breadboard,
Yeah.
just so everyone can see what they're looking for in their boxes?
Absolutely.
Because there's lots of things in those boxes, so yeah,
There
trying
are
to
lots
find
of
the right bit.
exciting computers in the boxes. Might actually go and stand up and oh no, wait, I can just put my torch on, can't I?
Tiny little thing.
Because it's really, it's suddenly got all dark in my flat. All right. So here is the button. Can you see that? So it's a
You might stop sharing. Is you sharing your screen still? So
oh yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen for a second. That's a good idea. There you go. And here is the button. I'm just
might
trying
be a
to get
different
as close as I
colour.
can without focusing. It might be a different color.
Mine's yellow,
Oh,
if anyone's looks like this. So it might be a different colour.
Yeah, in the kit
Okay.
we actually have the yellow one here, and we actually have a few little colorful caps, so you can put it on so you can choose whatever color you actually want on your button.
that's what it looks like on its side. That's it from the top. But like I said, yours might be a different color, like the other said. And then that's it from its, oh no, I lost the focus. There you go. And then that's it upside down with its cute little legs. There's also a good picture in there in the worksheet of it. Oh, come on, focus. Nope, it does not want to focus now. There you go. It is very cute. Yes, Reese. Awesome. Okay. So are you ready for the next couple of wires, everyone? Let's just see if I can. You don't really need to see my headphones though, do you? There you go. So we've got our button, our wire, and our resistor so far. What we're going to do is put in another two wires to connect it to the power. Okay, so that goes from the other leg here, like that, and then to the red line, which mine is just here. Okay, so you can see that that wire goes from the red line to the power on the Arduino. And you can see now why I like to use different colored wires, because even though you can't see all of the wire, you know it's much easier to tell which wire is which. All right, and then one more to connect my wire, my red line to my Arduino. Okay, I'm going to go from here, that red line, which is all connected underneath, to the power on my Arduino, and you'll see that the power, there's a little one that says 5 volts. You can see down here as well on the screen, and it goes, I might have to put my phone down to do this. Like, oh yeah, it's not going to go in without me pushing. Just going to put my phone down for a second. Sorry, everyone. I need to hold the Arduino so that it goes in properly. There you go. So you can see that it's connected to the 5 volts there and connected to the red line, which is connected to the red wire, which is connected to the battery. Fantastic. All right, I know we're going quite quickly now, so don't worry if you're not quite there. This is all recorded, so you can pause us and carry on at whichever speed works for you. Or if you're like, come on, Sophie, you're being far too slow, why can't you put a hole into a wire into a little hole? Yeah, I'm not very good at doing that quickly. So you can fast forward through this bit too. Okay. All right, so we'll just add in our LED circuit and then we'll send the code to it. Okay, so grab your LED, which is easier said than done with only one hand, because it's decided to get itself caught under a bunch of wires. So here is my little LED, and I'm going to add it in over here, making sure that my wires are nice and firmly in there like that. Okay, and then I'm going to do the green wire next. So if you've still got, if you're still looking at your Tinkercad, I'm going to do the green wire that's going to go from one of the legs here to my pin 13. Oh, see, it gets pushed away when I try and move it. There you go, pushing that into pin 13. Like that. There you see. So we've just got 2 more components to put in, and then we are ready to send the code to the Arduino. Okay, so we need another resistor that's going to go from the other leg of the LED to the blue wire, to the blue line. So it's going to go from this leg here. Oh, wait, can you see? From this leg on this side to the blue line. And I'm going to have to put my phone down to do it because otherwise it won't go in. So we'll do that as quick as I can. And plug it in like this. Then you can see what it looks like. Just give it a second to focus. So you see my LED, my resistor goes from this pin here of my LED to the blue line on my Arduino circuit board. One more wire, just one. All right, one more wire to connect it back to the Arduino. So from the blue line here, all the way back to my Arduino. So now it's connected to the blue line you see here, but then this line isn't connected to anything. I'm going to connect it to the ground of my Arduino, which again, I'm going to have to hold the Arduino in order to be able to do it. Oh. There. You can see it's now connected to the ground, the one that says GND. And I'm just pointing on my phone to where it was, which is completely helpless for you. But you can see that this orange wire goes from the blue line to the thing on the thing that says GND. Oh. Okay. Now just the very last step in the last couple of minutes. And we will get going. So I'm going to share my screen again. Like this. We can probably unspotlight the Arduino cam now. And what we're going to do is we're going to copy this code to the Duino app so that we can connect our Arduino up. All right. Oh, so you have to stop the simulation or it won't let you do it. And you'll remember from last time that the way we do that is when you're looking at the code, you've got this thing that says blocks plus blocks. You can change that to blocks plus text here. And then you get the code that you've made, but also this other code, which is just in a different language. So all we want to do is highlight all of that and copy. So you can do Control-C on most computers to copy that, or you can right click and press copy. And then you go to the Duino app. So we put a link to that in the chat earlier, but maybe if one of the helpers could pop it in again, that would be great. Because this is where we send it to our Arduino. So it looks like this. We want to put some code in. So we press the code button up here. We're going to do this last bit quite quickly, but remember, you can always pause us and start it again. Delete whatever code is in there because that's old code. And then just paste your new code in there. So Control and V for me. And then you've got this, right? Then we connect our Arduino up, again, using our big long, just going to unspotlight the Arduino cam, using our USB wire. So that goes into our computer in one end. And then to our Arduino in the other. And then when your Arduino is connected, it should it should light up. So you should be able to tell that it is connected properly because there should be a little light on the Arduino. That's the built-in LEDs that we were talking about before. All right. And then we just need, sorry, one of my wires fell out. Oh, like Dana's showing you in Dane's camera. You need to make sure that it knows which device it's talking to. So if you head down here to select device, click on that, and then one of them will say Arduino Uno. Now, if you're using a Mac, then use the IDE like we did last week, or you can use a different way of like you did last week. And then press connect. So it's like, oh, okay, I know who I'm talking to. And then once you've done that, it should say serial selected. Serial is just a fancy word for USB port, I think. And then we go all the way to the top right up here. There are lots of different ones. And what we want to do is say compile and upload. So that means think about it and then send it to the Arduino. So I'm going to click that. It's thinking about it. It's sending it to the Arduino. Oh, and I've got an error, which is really annoying. And I don't know why. So I'll try again, shall I? Because it was working just a few minutes ago. Well, just before this thing. So I'm just copying it all again. I'm going to check that my Arduino is connected. And I'm going to send it. And I'm going to cross my fingers. No. Sarah, what do you think this could be?
I have no idea. The thing that you just did, that opening a new tab, is what fixed it for me.
Yeah, that's
could
what
try.
fixed it as well.
Unplugging your Arduino and plugging it back in again. That's always a good thing to try. If anybody else is getting this same error, unplug and plug back in again, and fingers crossed. Then you might have to open a new tab again and have another go.
Let's try that. Oh. Okay, so I've opened a new one. It's got the code in there. Just going to check that it's connected. And I'm going to send it. Oh, everyone cross your fingers. Yes. So it's, sorry, it was just getting confused about which serial it was connecting to, which USB port it was connecting to. And I will just show you on Arduino cam. I'll just spotlight the Arduino cam. I think. So here you've got my Arduino, which you can see it's got this little light on that shows it's connected. Here's my Arduino. You can see the little light on it, the built-in LED. The wires connecting it, just as we did together. And here's my button and my LED. My LED is not on because my button's not pushed. But if I press it, it works. And if I take my finger off, it stops working. Right, it stops turning on. It keeps working. There you go. All right. All right, so that made it so we did that really quickly at the end. So well done to everybody for carrying on. Oof, some of you have done some fantastic things. So making it, if you press the button, it makes red and green LEDs alternate and flash. That's amazing. Very Christmassy as well, which I like. So yeah, congratulations. Well done, everybody. So thank you all for doing all of that. Remember, this is all recorded, and so you can watch the video back. You can check on the worksheet that Dane sent earlier today to make sure that you can see all of the things in person, and you can stay on behind with us now if you haven't quite got there, so we can help you one-to-one. All right, so thank you so much, everybody. Well done. You should all be really proud of yourselves for persevering. And I'm going to hand back to Dane now because I've run over and he's probably cross with me.
Not at all, no. Well done, everyone. There was a lot of people having a lot of difficulty in there, but it's quite a few people have managed to kind of find out what was going wrong and have fixed it just like we did with Sophie's. So just while we've got a little bit of time, so I'm going to share my screen very quickly, just because some of you might have decided to do a few extra bits and pieces. So I've played with my input code here. So I've got lots of LEDs going high, low, and then if I stop sharing, this is how you can make it a little flash. So press my button and just do that. And so you can play to your heart's content. Now you've got this working, and when I let go, it will then stop. So you can play with yours as much as you like. So well done if you've got a single LED to flash, or if you've got lots of LEDs to flash using button control. That's wonderful. And we'll take it one step further again next week. But the most important thing is if you get it all working this time round. So please do follow along with the instructions in the printed document or the digital document, or by watching along again. So thanks so much, everyone. Well done, and we'll see you next time.